Starting and now we're live. Hey folks, thanks for tuning into the Bamf podcast. I'm your host Mike Lafferty. Here with me today is Alice from the SUPERS Red Discord. How you doing, Alice?
Hi everyone, I'm doing well.
And we also have Walt Billiard, publisher of SUPERS. How you doing, Walt?
I have nothing prepared. Go for it.
And today we're going to demonstrate the Walter, what are you saying? I can hear your lips. I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear words.
No, that wasn't anything. That was my coffee.
Alice is moving a pickup truck slowly across the stream to commemorate the fact that we are doing vehicle rules and possibly vehicle combat today.
Excellent.
It's a Wonder Woman truck.
I didn't know that is pretty cool.
It's the bombshell Wonder Woman. It came with her bombshell Wonder Woman piece.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's a 1952 Chevy COE or something like that.
That's fantastic.
My kid would love that.
And we can't tell that you actually have a thing for Wonder Woman.
Well, actually, the thing is I don't officially. My favorite superhero is actually War Machine since I was a little kid. Yeah. But what happened was I played a superhero in a campaign that went 540 hours of and for Hero System.
Oh,
and
wow.
She was a brick. Yeah, we played 10 to 16 hours a day every Saturday for 540-hour sessions and we had all the audio recording and everything too. But I lost.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I actually lost it in my data crash. But it was a face-to-face game. And in it, I played a character called Lady Liberty. And so she was a flying brick well, I'll tell you guys more about it another time. But the joke became that, well, we can't find anything for LL. So we'll start. So Brandon one day got me something for Wonder Woman and said, well, if we got really desperate, we could just repaint it and just destroy the miniature and do it. And he started making jokes of it. And then all of a sudden he started getting me more Wonder Woman stuff. Every time there was a special occasion, I got Wonder Woman. So for Valentine's Day, I got the bombshell truck and 2 more miniatures. This one, she's adorable. And I mean, I get some really adorable stuff by all means. And, sorry, actually 3 more. And this one, and this one.
Oh, nice.
But, my 2 prize pieces are definitely this one that's hand painted and limited edition. So I have the number 290 some of a total of 1,500 ever made. Damn. And this giant one. So, yeah.
That is amazing.
Brandon gets me lots of Wonder Woman stuff. If it's Wonder Woman, I get to ask for it.
Well, I'm sure you absolutely hate it.
Well, I have quite the collection. Let me see if I can show you guys.
Dear Lord.
Hold on. Let me see.
Oh, wow.
Lots of Wonder Woman stuff. Yeah. So anyway, sorry for the little distraction of Wonder Woman stuff.
No, it's cool. I'm glad you had a pickup truck because generally the invisible jet is just not much to look at. So
I know, right? So the bombshell truck for vehicle rules. I figured, hey, we're doing vehicle rules. I should zoom it across the screen.
No, that works. That works. I gotta say, I'm a big fan of superhero vehicles, but maybe you guys have a different experience. They don't seem to come up a lot in tabletop.
We need to change that.
They don't. The 540-hour Heroes game I was talking about, we did have 2 super vehicles from 2 different characters, 2 different points. One was a super bike, and the other one was a pimped out Charger. Well, I don't know that it was a Charger. If you watch Supernatural, it's their car, but it's pimped out to super tech.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, the famous Charger from Supernatural. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it is a Charger. I remembered that right.
I think so. I really should know off the top because I've had to watch like hundreds of hours of that with my
wife. Sounds like torture. Absolute torture.
It's a Chevy Impala.
Chevy Impala. There we go. Yeah. So
1967. Yeah.
one of our party members had a pimped out Impala at one point. Didn't last.
Yeah, they usually don't, right? It's when you
Right.
get involved in a combat, and yeah.
And they
The
get
bike
squishy.
lasted. Okay, the bike lasted though.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I actually had this weird idea for a series of PDFs for icons, like 7 years ago, called Justice Wheels. And the covers were all kind of like, toy packaging, and it was, hey, here's a character, and here's their car, and it was a lot of fun. It didn't sell so well, but
Oh, that's depressing.
well, that's the nature of small press RPGs. Sometimes you get an idea people like, and sometimes, hey, that's kind of cool, and it never really moves. It seems like, I mean, even in the comic books, though, I mean, yeah, Batman's got a Batmobile, other characters have their various other vehicles, but you don't see, they just don't figure in the action very much. I actually saw a driving game in an arcade a couple years ago. It was, Batman touring around Gotham in various versions of the Batmobile, shooting at various bad guys in their cars, and I was like, huh, that seems like
Is that the one you sit in?
Yeah, it's that one.
Oh, I love that game.
Yeah, it was fun. And they had Lego had one, in the DC Supervillains Lego line, or super characters, whatever, superhero supervillains. You were it was like Mario Kart, but with the Lego versions of the characters and Lego versions of the vehicles.
Nice.
So,
well,
yeah.
what are your favorite vehicles in superhero comics? Do you have any? We know it's the Wonder Woman truck for Alice.
Actually, not, but go, Mike.
Oh, I didn't have anything particular. I mean, I've always had an odd fascination with the helicarrier, but that's almost just set dressing. It never really, like, you never see the helicarrier having a long drawn out fight with another vehicle. But everyone likes the
unless
Batmobile.
It's Captain America, Winter Soldier, the movie.
Well, yeah, but they weren't. They were just being sabotaged, right?
Yeah, they're still shooting at each other.
Yeah, there is that. So yeah, I don't know. What about you, Walt?
This is gonna date me, and it's gonna make me seem like an absolute psychopath.
Is it the Spider-Man dune buggy?
No.
Okay.
No. Although one of my nephews has the Spider-Man rotor drone.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen this thing? It's Spider-Man on what looks like those speeder bikes from Return of the Jedi, with like the 4 little helicopter wheels, and he flies it around the yard and likes to antagonize my dog until the dog decides he hates the drone, and then the drone doesn't last after that.
I hadn't heard about this.
Well, it's a thing.
Yeah.
I found it at like Toys R Us or something like that before it went out of business. But as far as my favorite vehicle, and especially my favorite use of the vehicle in the comic,
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's an. I'm gonna have to look it up. I think it's an Audi A6. I think that's what it. Yes, it's the Audi A6. Is my favorite vehicle that I've seen used in a comic, because they used it in Nemesis, the Mark Miller, where What If Batman Was a Dick?
Oh yeah, where he wears all white. Yeah.
Yep. So they do like this crazy prison break scene, and so that the cops couldn't chase one particular criminal that he was trying to spring, he loaded the entire prison parking lot with like 30 of these cars, and just all these escaped prisoners just jumped in and drove away. And the way the car chase scene in the comic was sick. It was really good. So I mean, yeah, they're very, very cool.
Yeah, cool. Alice, what's your favorite?
It's actually a little more generic, but I always love all the chase scenes with motorcycles, and so
Really?
I like the Huntress motorcycle, for example. And
Nick.
there are a few. Hello, Nick. Nice to meet you. I'm Alice. But there are a few.
You're muted.
Hi, Alice. I'm Nick. There we go.
Nice to meet you.
So please continue with motorcycle chase, Alice.
I think that motorcycles are. I like the motorcycle chases. I love the Huntress one. I've seen a few comics back years ago with great panels of the Huntress doing a chase scene with it. I like the Black Widow motorcycle. Yeah, so it's just a little more generic, but I like motorcycles in them. Plus, they're slim enough to navigate through traffic, and if you're lucky enough to they're less likely to get decimated and totaled like cars are in superhero games.
Yeah, just smaller targets.
Yeah, smaller targets.
How about it, Nick? Favorite comic book vehicle?
Oh, man. That's a toughie.
It's not the dog behind you, is it?
Huh?
Your favorite vehicle isn't the dog that was behind you?
No, I can't ride it into battle quite yet. I'll break its back with my fat ass. Geez, I don't know. Probably the Veritech fighters in Robotech.
Really? Those things are badass.
Oh, those are pretty badass.
I think those are probably my favorite. Those are probably like my first introduction into like Japanese mechs. And I was a wee lad, and I have some toys of them actually on my shelf. So,
what did you think? What did you think of the Cyclones?
The Cyclones are badass as well. I also have one of them. Because a motorcycle that turns into armor, that's fucking awesome.
Hell yeah.
KTF right there, man.
Right? I saw that as God, I had to be a teenager when that came over to the United States. Yeah. And I was sitting on my couch and main character was kind of fumbling with the switch and couldn't get it to work, so he puts it back in motorcycle mode, puts the armor on, and then figures out that the armor interlocks with the vehicular armor. And then they go and do that thing where the thing does a wheelie, pops up in the air with the rockets, and then changes into the fighter. I was like, I'm done.
That's just good TV right there. That's just good TV. But you guys were talking about like vehicle chases, and the Huntress's vehicle. It kind of brought me back to Jim Lee's work on the New 52 with Detective Comics and Justice League, where he was Black Canary was on a motorcycle. And she was like on a Harley variant type, roadster. And the scenes he drew in that were just awesome.
That's what she was driving back in Hard Traveling Heroes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not read the New 52 Justice League. I read a number of the New 52 titles. But then with the way that New 52 was going, I just kind of lost steam. And I meant to go back and read the other ones, but didn't. I should probably go do that.
Yeah, Justice League issues 1 through 13, and then Jim left, and then the entire 52 just kind of fell apart. So. Yeah,
right. And so I was like, well, But I was reading a bunch of the titles, and I hadn't gotten to Justice League, and then things just went, and I'm like, I'll wait for the restart again.
Yeah, there'll be another reboot in about 2 years. I'll wait.
Yeah, exactly.
We're announcing Rebirth. Oh, see, there it is. There it is right there.
Exactly.
When do you come out?
Oh, my goodness.
Then Rebirth is trash, too.
So, real quick, as like a side note, before we get into the gaming part of this, where we do vehicle construction, somebody's got a comic coming out this week, and I hear there's vehicles in that too.
It's not me.
Who? Oh shit, that's me.
Well, tell us about it, Nick.
The comic book is called Corvid and Sparrow. If you are a fan of characters like Black Canary, Huntress, Batgirl, shit, even Wonder Woman, and you're a fan of secret organizations like the League of Assassins or the Watchers or anything like that, this would be a book for you. It dives right into an ostracized member of a secret society whose sole purpose was to collect and guard human knowledge, the entire collective wealth of human knowledge. So everything from the wheel to the atom bomb, and everything in between that's been kept secret from mankind, this organization are the guardians of those secrets.
Warehouse 13 superhero style.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's a great elevator pitch. Okay.
So with this ostracized individual who ends up being Corvid, she finds herself taking on an apprentice, not a sidekick, an apprentice, because Corvid's case just kind of falls in line with and involves who eventually becomes Sparrow. And then they get into a series of adventures, and an old foe an old ally who turned foe from the past comes in to make both their lives miserable, and they're trying to track him down. So that goes live February 19th. Hopefully.
And what's the title again? And where do we get it?
Corvid and Sparrow. It'll be exclusively on Kickstarter.
Cool.
And if you look at my screen a little bit, you can see some of the artwork that Nick put up, and oh my god, it's glorious.
Yeah, the artwork's done by Hakan Aydin, and it's he did the pencils and inks, and then it's colored by his brother Ibrahim Aydin, and then letters will be by me.
Yo, you're lettering this time.
I've been lettering like the last 3 books.
Nice.
How did you ever? I tried that once and it almost killed me. Just the
The lettering or
precision.
that position?
Say what?
What almost killed you? Was it the
Well, no,
or was it the lettering?
you had to be so precise, and just it was so tedious trying to figure out, how to size the bubbles so they don't block off the art, and it was just
Right. It's definitely an art form in itself, and it's taken me some time to learn it. The inking, the way I look at like the jobs in the comic book world are kind of like a rock band. Your writer, your artist, those are like lead singer, lead guitar. And they flip flop depending on who's hot at the moment. And then you have the anchor, who's the drummer. And then you have the letterer, who is important, but mostly overlooked because he's in the back doing background percussions.
so is Ringo.
So I don't take my comments wrong. I don't look down on anchors. You guys are just the drummers of the comic book world.
Without it, nothing would happen, and it just
wouldn't
wouldn't look right. Yeah, it wouldn't look right.
It wouldn't look right unless that penciler knows how to ink his own stuff.
You are the triple threat.
Yeah. So, but I say that in jest. It is a symphony. It is an orchestra. If one piece is out of line, you can tell by looking at the book that it's just all jacked up. So, but yeah, that's coming out February 19th. I'm super stoked.
Launch party?
There will be a launch party. There'll probably be drinking too, because it's me. So,
I'll definitely look for it in 4 days.
Yeah, 4 days. I still got to get the video together. Won't want to help me out?
Yep, send it.
Awesome. Because I've got everything else. I'm like, man, I forgot about the fucking video again.
Yeah, no problem. We got you. Nothing will top that the first Bengali video though.
Oh, my homage to Todd McFarlane in the early Spawn series.
Oh my god, that was freaking bananas.
I think the only thing that comes close is the Phantom Hawk promo. That intro, where I'm all tacked out and like talking to nobody about giving them an op order and shit. That was pretty cool. But I also have a Western comic that will be through either Indiegogo or Kickstarter. That team is still trying to figure it out, and that'll go live in March.
Really?
Yeah. It's called The Ballad of Dusty Tortillas. And the title sounds funny, but it's gonna be violent. It's gonna have humor. It's a good book. I'm still working on the concept sketches right now, and as soon as those get approved, I'll start going into like preliminary pages.
Did you read Sixth Gun by Cullen Bunn?
No, I didn't.
Oh my god, so good.
I have to read, and
that one, and God, I can't remember the guy's name. I have it on my hard drive when it came out, because shortly after it came out in hard edition, it started out as a web series, then went to hard edition, then Comixology grabbed it, and then it just disappeared. And I was so happy that I had it. High Moon.
High Moon. Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, like Werewolves in the Wild West. It was really good.
That book, that's right up my alley. Oh, I forgot to mention the creators of The Ballad of Dusty Tortillas. It's Stefan and Brennan Kemp. They're brothers. One of them is active duty up in the Fort Lewis area.
Nice.
So, and the other one's in Houston, I believe. Not too far from me.
Nice.
Well, hey, do we want to talk superhero vehicles, especially the Supers rules about those?
Absolutely. What's really cool about the Supers rules and how you build a vehicle? It's almost exactly like you built when Aldo was putting the rules together. One of the things I stressed that I wanted all the way across the board is I want everything to make sense, and I didn't want a bunch of different micro games, mini games spread out all over the rules, because I don't know about you, but when I have to look in 15 different places in a rule book while I got 4 or 5 faces staring at me across the table, and then those faces descend nose down into a screen, that's not what I need out of my games. So I said, look, rules have to be consistent. It's got to be the same across the board. So let's make sure that everything's cool. So vehicles and to some extent animals, all had the same kind of creation pool that goes into making them, and they pretty much all act the same way, which makes this rule set very, very simple. So who wants to make a vehicle? Do we want to start with Alice's truck, or do we want to?
Well, last time we started with me just genning something off demo. So why don't we start with someone else this time?
Nick, what do you want to build?
Motorcycle.
Yeah.
Hey,
Motorcycles are awesome.
I just sent you a Justice Wheels with a motorcycle. If you want to take a look at that, that's a possible for conversion.
Nice.
If you want.
Because of this, which sits in my display case and it's dusty. So.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
But motorcycles are always cool. I mean.
Yes. See, that's why I like motorcycles in comic books. They're always cool. They can get everywhere and they do awesome chase scenes.
Oh, especially when they're going rooftop to rooftop. Oh.
I know, right? Flying.
I mean, I gotta tell you, even though it was
but I mean, it looks so damn cool.
Every motorcycle in superhero games has super leap. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the thruster.
Everyone has super leap. Yeah.
The coolest motorcycle scene I've ever seen, like on screen, as far as superheroes goes, is in one of the worst superhero movies ever. The Ghost Rider, where he's riding down that building.
Oh,
yeah.
That was sick. But the movie
has really good motorcycle.
The movie was not very good.
No,
the movie was
terrible.
one of those. It was so bad, it was good movie. So.
Like
You know, it was so bad that you're like, there's actually points of enjoyment out of this because it is so bad.
Nice.
Affleck's Daredevil, same way.
Oh, I actually like that Daredevil.
I do. The director's cut. And
the director's cut.
I'm a huge Daredevil fan.
Yes.
You know, and I was just so happy that there was a Daredevil movie, and then Charlie Cox came out with the Netflix series, and I was like, Ben, who? But you still love me, right? I'm like, yeah, I love you. Get in the cupboard. Don't ever show your face in front of company.
All right, so we're gonna build a motorcycle. Tell me, let's do some brainstorming on the fly. What kind of hero is driving this? We talking Lobo? Are we talking like Batgirl, or what are we talking?
A Batgirl Huntress, I would think, or Corbett. Corbett.
Get some branding going on.
Branding going, little brand identification.
All right, so vehicles are pretty much built the same way as characters, to an extent. The only difference is how the points work out and how you pay for them. So basically, if you turn to page 89 on the SUPERS Revised Edition rules, they have all the vehicle creation stuff right there. So basically, you get for 1D to spend in the creation of the vehicle, you get a base point of 10 points. And then for every 1D after that you spend, you get 5 points. So certain things, so it's built just like bases. And we can do like a base episode at some point if Mike's cool with that.
And just like alternate form as well.
Yep. It's just like when you were building the other character the other week. So it's super, super easy. So this character, do we have a name for this Huntress style character?
Corbin, he said.
Corbin,
We're
gonna use Corbin.
Let's do it.
All right. I have a pencil and I'm not afraid to use it.
Attaboy. Whip that thing out. How's your back? I probably missed the show.
All right. So does Corvid's bike have a name? Or it's just the bike? The wing, the feather.
1 second. I can't Alan because Bam Hawk.
Contemporary reference. Call it Bird Box.
So she's got to ride it blindfolded.
God, I hope not, because she doesn't have that kind of tech. Oh God,
Bird Box. All right, we'll come back.
The name's the hardest part of anything. Days trying to come up with it. Call it the Night Fury.
Night Fury.
Making
Nice.
him come up with information for future sequels to his comic book.
I'll have a really badass name for it in about 6 months.
I'll get a call at work. It'll be like 2 a.m.
Oh my God!
Hey. All right. So, are we talking the next thing that we're gonna be checking out is the size. So are we talking something like a regular motorcycle, or are we talking something big like the when the Tumbler spits out that like bat bike in the Nolan Batman movies?
That thing is trash. It'd be sleek. It'd be like more of a Katana style bike, maybe Ducati, crotch rocket, rice burner.
All right, so we don't have to spend any any points in the size, because it's really, and unless it's going to be ridiculously small.
No, it's not. It's not like compact, folds and like fits on our thigh or anything. So you have to park it in an alleyway or valet it, but just don't hit that red button right there.
Have you been to my website lately?
No.
I put one of those buttons on there that says "Do not touch."
Well, you know someone's going to touch it.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. All right, so next
week, touch it, so you said I couldn't touch it.
We go to resistances next. Most vehicles have 2 resistances. They have fortitude and reaction. So fortitude is exactly what it sounds like. It's how much physical damage the bike can take from a German Shepherd tail that smacks it repeatedly. And then we can see your dog's tail in the background.
Yeah. Well, one dog got.
Dog's like, I get to whack something? I heard I get to whack something.
Yeah, Meryl she heard whack and she came in just all. I get knocked over. I've been waiting all day for this.
So and then reaction is the other trait, and those start at 1D for free, right? So how many points are we thinking of putting in this bike, or do you want to just wing it and then we can calculate it later?
I'm a big fan of winging it.
Winging it is.
Now I'm looking at the motorcycle on page 120 of Supers Red, and all it's got is resistances, aptitudes, powers, advantages. I don't see your reaction. Oh, reaction 3D right there under resistances. My bad.
Yep. So that's the sample. We put in a couple of samples in the book so that people could get an idea and kind of base it around there. So the motorcycle that he did that based off of was kind of like a Harley style bike. So we can play with things from there. So fortitude, is the bike going to be armored at all? Is it going to be like beefed up a little bit, or is it going to be?
It's got a light carbon fiber Kevlar weave coating.
Fortitude 1D. So you're gonna have 1 dice in the vehicle's fortitude, because basically that German Shepherd tail is gonna do some damage if it wings by. Just kidding.
Keep chilling.
Reaction. What kind of how nimble is this motorcycle? With a trained rider.
It's pretty nimble for a trained rider, yeah. Like you can do like your knee scrapes on it on a tight corner and things like that.
All right, we'll give it 4D. All right, and then so moving on, aptitudes. So pretty much all of the what do you call it? All vehicles start with some measure of athleticism. Because obviously you've got things like turning radius, handling, whether the thing can, when you step on the gas, is it sluggish, so forth and so on. So we're definitely going to give it athleticism. But you said this is a nimble bike, so this thing can get out of its own way. So we're gonna. Did you have something to add, Mike?
Oh, I was just gonna throw in random stats so I can feel relevant. That's all. Mid-sized car has athleticism of 1D, so that's your Honda Civic. Just your base motorcycle in the book is 2D. Sports car is 3D. Just to let you know.
Did you have a Honda Civic at all, Mike?
I had an AMC Gremlin, which I understand is very much the same thing.
You did not. Come on.
I did. It was. I needed the money. It was college.
We are stat. That's it. So this week I am statting up the AMC Gremlin. All right. So we're gonna give it 3D. What the hell? For athleticism. And if you go to page 153 on the character creation summary, we can look at some of the other aptitudes that this thing would probably have. Does it have anything like any type of sensors or anything like that? Does it have any special military upgrades? So what are you envisioning this bike having?
It'll have your your typical turbo boost thruster, you know, for those really cool leaps. A grappling hook for assist.
Nice.
And diversionary chaff, you know, just in case there's heat-seeking missiles coming after it for whatever.
Is there a net gun?
There is not a net gun because the Bat bike has one, and I'm trying not to fuck with that. So,
gotcha. All right, so
I'm already working on the dynamic duo concept. I can't do it to the letter. So, but there is a Corvid ring.
There's a Corvid ray?
Ring, you know, like a batarang.
Oh, that fires out from the bike?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Well, since you've got like, you know, a bird theme going, you could also have glider wings that pop out that allow it to leap further.
Ooh, yeah, like a soft assist touchdown when it ramps.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Like
That's pretty sweet. All right, I'm feeling it now. All right, so
birds of a feather.
Yeah, exactly.
And the wings deploy. Yes.
All right, so we got the athleticism down. I was also thinking of giving this this bike some presence. So basically, in the game, presence, the aptitude is your ability to impress or intimidate. So from the sound of things, this bike would definitely need it. So is it something like when it shows up, people would be like, "Oh crap"?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna give it a D in presence.
Yeah, the purple halogen light bulbs on the on the headlights.
Nice, nice. Now, does it have like a stealth mode?
Well, I mean, I would give it that, but like, why?
Gotcha.
Because it's not like a car or a plane, you know, where you could use reactive camouflage to kind of like do the stealth mode. So it really makes no sense. I mean, she could activate stealth mode on the bike, and it's just going to look like she's flying on a broomstick. So, you know, just vroom, you know. But, so yeah, no stealth mode. It does have quieted parts, you know, so it's not as loud as a bike of that prowess. So
Gotcha.
I mean, I guess you could call that the stealth mode. You know, so
right.
It's quieter than a normal bike of that caliber. So.
All right, so far we have its athleticism, which is kind of like its handling at 3D. So we've equated. Mike gave us the little heads up that 3D is kind of like the handling of a sports car.
Okay.
It's got presence because when it shows up, so at 1D, you know, people see it's a motorcycle, which normally doesn't set off any bells and whistles, but this is a little more impressive. So it's getting that one die of presence. And then does it have like sensors or anything like that on it? Motion tracking, rear facing cameras.
Yeah, just like basic stuff like that. So it'd have rear facing camera, so you know, she starts taking gunfire, it comes up on her HUD. Maybe some motion sensors, probably nothing more advanced than like a couple of feet detecting objects, almost like a minimized radar.
Cool. So I'm thinking we're going to give it an aptitude in awareness at 2 dice, right? Just to kind of give it that that little extra, so that you're not snuck up on coming out of a side alley or anything like that. All right. So now we move on to powers. So the basic motorcycle has a speed of about 200 miles per hour, based on the one that's in the game, the sample vehicles in the game. And once again, we're looking at a Harley, probably like a Harley Sportster or something like that.
Right.
So that gives it super running at 4D. Do you think it would be faster than that?
I think it would probably be somewhere around between 210, 220 with when it hits the boost. It obviously is going to bump it up to like a 250, 260.
So
I don't know how you would categorize that.
Oh, I'm looking right now because we have charts and tables and all sorts of shit.
We've got graphs. We got a guy with a pin on board.
While you're looking for the table, I have a quick question.
Yes.
I'm looking through it, and I'm just wondering how in Supers one would build something, say, an AI similar to Kit or another AI into a vehicle.
That actually you would kind of that instead of going for a straight up vehicle, you could either do it one of two ways. You could build it as a vehicle and then play the vehicle as a character, or you could build it as a character and put complications and disadvantages because of the fact that it's a car, and it's really hard to go into that college party dorm room when you're Trans Am.
Yeah, it seemed more like you build it as a companion creature rather than build it as a vehicle.
Correct.
But I wanted to double check based on the way that I was reading it. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, no worries. So just in the game, the dice that the motorcycle would get for super running. So the 3D gives us where is it? Hold on one second. 120, right? So the 4D, gives us 200 miles per hour. So one step up from that, and you're looking at 300 miles per hour. So what we could do is we could put a complication on it saying that that standard speed is the 4D at 200 miles per hour, and at 5D, 5D is 400 miles per hour. We could pay the extra price, but then cut the cost by saying that it can only go 250, 300. Does that sound good?
Works for me.
All right. All right. So it's got a base speed of 200, and then a boost that kicks it up a notch. All right. So that's the super running. Now, we also talked that this thing has some like Knight Rider boost. Is this thing super leap?
Yeah, the boost and the grappling hook. That's what helped. When they would have the super leap, and it would just kind of like go the way everybody wants it to go
without a ramp.
I mean, because like, what if you have to hit a tight turn, and then you go like Batman 88, even with the Batmobile, he had the grappling hook to make that really sharp turn at a high rate of speed. So,
right.
And the wings to help the landing.
I try to ground it a little bit in reality, even though in some disbelief, but I still kind of try and ground it a little bit like a toe. In reality, but they're going to need that shit.
All right. So for jumping, it's got the super leap at 3 dice. That'll give you 40 feet high and 80 across. Did you want to go a little less than that? Maybe 20 high and 40 across? Or you want to go a little more, because 4 dice will give you 80 feet high and 160 across.
I'm just trying to think of what that would look like. 80 feet. That's freaking high. That's some Evel Knievel shit. No, I think the 40 and 80. Is that what it was?
40 and 80. All right.
So across.
Super leap of 3 dice. Now here's the thing, right? So it's always cool to just throw powers onto a page, but
so you have to roll for them.
Yeah, well, when the dice hits and they're not going your way, it's always that kind of day.
If I roll them, they're not going my way.
But much like a lot of people will always gravitate to Spider-Man versus some bigger heroes because it's the flaws that make him interesting. Mm-hmm. Did you want to put anything on this, like the bike has to be in motion at a certain speed before you can activate the super leap, or did you just want it to be this thing can jump whenever you need it to?
No, I think because you're still going to need that momentum to, once again, the toe in reality. So yeah, you're going to have to be at a certain speed for the leap to actually work.
Cool, because that also cuts the creation cost for the bike as well. Certain speed. And I apologize if you guys are hearing my my geriatric blind cat trying to find his way around the house.
I got a dog with a cone on its head wandering around.
We're even.
We're even. We're matched.
Okay, so we got him at Super Leap, or got the bike at Super Leap, and then we have an entangle, which is going to be the grapple. So does the hook just assist with maneuvers, or can you actually ensnare somebody with it and pull them along?
It's multi-purpose.
Multi-purpose.
Its primary function is to assist with the super jump, but it could also be used for other things.
Cool. So we'll hit that at 3D, which gives it a good baseline to use against other vehicles and personnel as well. We talked about the chaff as well. So it would have an obscure power, which basically when it launches the chaff mechanically in the game, it basically counters your attacker's dice. Okay. So that makes it harder to hit, which in reality it's countering your vision and targeting systems, so makes you harder to hit. How good are they? Are we talking AC 130 good, or are we talking
probably UH 60 good?
So you're going to launch them, but it's going to get caught in the rotors and the stupid helicopter is going to crash. Got it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's not spooky good.
Gotcha. All right, so we got 2D on that, and then to round things out, we have a super weapon, which is the chakram launchers. Do these things launch out and knock people out, or do they launch out and 50 caliber them in half?
No, it's they're not life taking. They're intermediate weapon systems. All
right, so we'll hit those at like 2D, and then we have some gliding wings. So how do these work? They just come out when you jump that bridge that's under construction and the other side isn't built?
That is, yeah, it's definitely for the, oh shit, I didn't calculate that scenario. So they've hit the proper speed. They're hitting the drawbridge that opens up. There's a system malfunction on either side, so it stayed down, and they get all the way to the top and use the grappling hook to give them a little extra, and now they're up in the air and they're like, oh shit, this is gonna hurt. So they deploy the birds of a feather and glide safely down to the street, hopefully.
Cool. We're going to throw that at 2 dice as well because it's not real flight, but actually we'll put it at 3 dice so you'll have some enhanced gliding time with the complication of it's gliding, not true flight, which gives you back some points. So we have a bunch of powers, a bunch of cool stuff going on. The bike is basically built. The only thing we need to put in last is, does it have any problems? Are there any complications? Is there anything cool about the bike? Like it's got a handicap parking sticker and you can park wherever you want. I mean, what are we talking here? Anything?
Anything cool about the bike other than all the other cool shit that we mentioned?
Maybe it's haunted by a previous owner, like in the Haunted Tank comic book.
The thing about the bike is that it is garage built. It is not factory built. So, I mean, it was built from the ground up with the help of their tech guy, their version of a microchip. They call it Dante. So it will have some flaws because he is good with technology and despite his intelligence, he's pretty good doing mechanical stuff, but there are some things that he forgets. So like random things on this bike will malfunction.
So it's going to have a touch of bad luck?
Yeah, a little bit. It's like maybe when the wings deploy, they don't deploy fully. So you're only getting like maybe 35, 40% of its actual gliding power.
And the parts, so the parts are also harder to find because this thing's a custom build?
Right. So there's a lot of times in the book, well, later on in the series, where they're not going to be able to use this thing because they done fucked it up.
I still think Haunted would be more fun.
Haunted would be.
we can write that comic on the side,
What was that?
I said we can write that comic on the side.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, Corvid in the case of the Haunted Night Fury. I like it.
So just to recap, we have Corvid's Night Fury, which is a custom sport bike. Its fortitude is at 1D, reaction is at 4D. So this thing is fast, nimble, but if it takes a really hard hit, it's probably going to turn into confetti. Athleticism at 3D, so this thing is nimble as hell, especially with a trained rider. It's got a little bit of presence, so that the casual observer, when it sees this bike, will probably be like, "Oh, let's give this thing a wide berth." And then we gave it awareness to simulate a lot of its external sensors.
So
it's yes.
No, I please. Have a question for Nick.
I love questions.
Well, when a bike that cool is on the street and the superhero walks away, comes back, inevitably there's always a group of people trying to steal it. So what kind of defenses does it have against something like that?
Biometrics in the handlebars.
Ah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we can
and that's the first stage of security system. You also need our helmet, which has a telecommunications link to disarm the system.
Cool. See, because otherwise, people are just gonna be like, "That's so cool! I'm gonna take it."
Yeah.
Look at how many people try to steal Kit.
Oh yeah. Knight Rider fan.
Excellent. I'm still impressed that we still have Knight Rider fans in society today. I thought I was the only one.
I'm old.
I doubt it.
I'm 37. I'm almost 40.
That's within the generational.
Yeah, and Brandon's 41.
Mike and I are going to just keep our mouths shut. We have the vehicle speed topping at 210, a little bit above until they hit a boost, and that's simulated through super running in the rules. It's got a super leap, but you got to be moving at a certain speed. What speed are we talking that they have to hit before they can hit the funky boost?
I was thinking somewhere like between 80 and 100 miles an hour.
80 and 100. Cool. All right, so this thing has to be moving before it can get a good jump.
Mainly for the pure comedic aspect I can use for it, either in game or in the comic. Like when things 88.8 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious shit. A little Back to the Future reference.
That's fantastic.
Nick, with the security system you mentioned, it sounds like you might also have power loss on that. If it suffers an electrical attack, suddenly you can't operate it.
Right, and it's susceptible to EMPs and like a down power line. If it gets overloaded, which goes back to Dante's expertise, and sometimes he forgets shit like maybe a secondary power source that's shielded to keep the bike running. So
nice.
So power loss, at least one die, it sounds like.
Yeah, we're getting points back left and right.
OP the bike, even though like everybody wants to OP their shit. Like it's Superman and two wheels, but it's not. It's susceptible to shit. And I think that really makes it more interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the bike is susceptible to damage. It's not bulletproof. It's not the Batmobile, where it has intimidate mode and it's calculating things and it has an advanced AI. It's like, no, this was built in a garage by a drunk fat guy with a ponytail. Wearing a Comic-Con t-shirt, and yeah, he's good, but he misses some shit.
Well, I think that's why I personally think that Marvel generally comes up with more interesting, for comic books, more interesting characters, because they believe in flaws and believe in internal right. delving and such like that. Whereas DC's like, here's 30 billion Mary Sues,
right?
Unlimited Mary Sues.
Heroes with problems. I mean, that's kind of what drew me to Marvel to begin with. It's like, like I said, my favorite character is Daredevil. I mean, here we have a superhero who's blind. Yeah, he has that sonar sense, but he's still blind. That's the stuff that, you got someone like Echo that can just, overload his, hearing, and then like all that shit goes out the window, and then he's just kind of debilitated. So.
And then, of course, last but not least, we have the chakram launchers and the emergency gliding system, which I can't wait for you to draw this because I have what it looks like in my head.
God, I hope it doesn't record. Oh.
So that's the basics of how to build a vehicle in Supers. You just basically run down the list and kind of go with what you have in your head. We've never really had a randomizer for how to do it. You know, just roll dice and see what you come up with, like the mystery machine or something like that. But
that could go bad. You could roll really well, and all of a sudden you got like a Zeppelin.
right.
And then next thing how do you patrol Hell's Kitchen with a Zeppelin? So
but,
how would vehicle combat work?
Well, there's two ways we can do this. In standard supers, vehicular combat is very similar to regular combat. So you're going to be matching speed for speed and trying to, of course, chase each other. And then when you get close, you would, of course, have all sorts of attacking and just like you would do with just like you do with regular combat with characters. So basically, the biggest difference in vehicle combat versus standard combat is in the standard combat, you just have two people trying to knock each other down. When you're dealing with vehicles, you have to worry about the vehicle itself because the vehicle might have defenses. It might have, you know, a chassis that's really thick. Like if you're driving, say, a Wonder Woman truck, you know, that Wonder Woman truck could have a thick chassis and be that there is the Wonder Woman truck right there. You know, if that thing is made of steel and you're trying to run it off the road and it's got a big engine, that the rules will reflect that. So it's going to be harder to knock off the road. Whereas, you know, if you got a superhero dealing with a brick, you know, there are things you can do as far as that goes. So that's in the standard rules. We also have former Marine, even though we don't hold it against him, and Supers craftsman extraordinaire Gary Brown made the excellent rule set called Search and Destroy. So he basically came to us one day and said, I have this idea to use your Supers rules to simulate the 3 Bs, Bauer, Born, and Bond. Please, 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 can we do this? And I was like, absolutely. So they gave Supers a little bit of a facelift, and one of the things they did was they implemented chase rules. And the chase rules are very slick. Once again, they stayed with the core vision for Supers in that the game has to work the same all the way across. So whether you're dealing with a vehicle, a character, an organization, you want to deal with the same stuff going all the way across. So the difference in the Search and Destroy chase rules is that you also deal with distance. So if you have the Wonder Woman truck being chased by the Night Fury, then you can roll against each other to determine whether or not the Wonder Woman truck can escape the Night Fury can escape the Wonder Woman truck, so forth and so on. So there's an added mechanic for that as well, and it's a really neat, slick way to run a vehicle chase. And if we wanted to, I know we're running a little bit long right now, but we can. Is Brandon going to be available next week?
Yes, he is.
So if we wanted to do some vehicle chases online, and we could wait till next week.
Sure. I'm going to go pick that book up for us. Actually, I'm very interested to see because a lot of chase rules don't accommodate for like flash tripping and getting caught, you know, so I'm interested in seeing that.
Absolutely. And it's actually that rule set should be on the way to your house.
Oh, okay.
So don't pick it up.
Okay, I will not pick it up yet.
But the great thing, you're welcome. The great thing about the chase rules is that, like I said, they're slick, they're elegant, and they stay with the design philosophy of the game in that it's basically my dice against your dice, and like during the chase action, just like in the character actions where you pick how you want to attack and defend. If Reed Richards is defending against the Hulk, and the Hulk uses his strength to try and smash Reed Richards can defend against that attack with his intelligence, which is only right for Reed Richards.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the same thing for the chase rules in Search and Destroy. So, for example, if the Night Fury is chasing down like a cargo van full of thugs, and the thugs take like a really quick turn in the van, and Corvid loses them on the street, instead of using the speed, which she might want to save for the next action, she can use her bike's awareness to simulate sensors tracking the next street, rerouting, having Google saying, "I'm rerouting you to the next available route," you know, that kind of stuff. So, okay, please
go, Mike. You were about to say something.
No, I was on mute.
Oh, I was just going to say, I really like that because that automatically accounts for something I was just talking about. That Flash, you know, in just about any superhero system, it doesn't account for him tripping during a chase, which we know any comic lover knows that he inevitably does in almost every chase. So here he would just be like, okay, well, I'll go for it with my reaction. Oh, look, I flubbed, and GM says you tripped.
Exactly. And in the book, 121 is the basic vehicle combat rules. In Search and Destroy, it's on page 27. But right after the vehicle combat rules, you have the hazard rules for the basic game that brings hazards into the game: earthquakes, floods, industrial accidents. They call it Wrath of God, and it's in parentheses, AKA. So, I mean, you know, those kind of things are present to bring that comic book feel right onto your game table. So, did we want to set up again next week? And I have this really gorgeous map that I just made, and I'll put that in the. I'll try and send you guys a link for that. I put together while we were talking a city block, awesome. Like 4 city blocks, and I will send you that map, and we can go through and run a vehicle chase and a combat scene. Does that sound cool, Mike?
I'll just mention one thing. You, yep. Mike, and I and Brandon have a previous engagement, same time slot next week with Aldo for Bamf podcast, but this time slot is taken for a different.
That is true. Yes.
So we push it out one additional week. So
sounds great.
Yeah, sounds good. We can convert some more vehicles between now and then, and yeah.
And then, oh my God, we could have a demolition derby.
That would be fun.
Yeah, we could. One of those Battle of the Champions, some interdimensional being teleports you to Derby World, and you got to fight your way.
And how about this, right? So you heard it first in the Bamf podcast. Whoever we'll invite a listener on as well, and whoever wins the contest of champions, the battle of the vehicles, I will spring for a mid-level tier for Nick's upcoming Kickstarter.
Nice.
And I will give you a long and relaxing foot massage.
Virtually, apparently. Virtually.
No, he means he's gonna come to your house with the dog.
As long as the gremlin makes it there.
Well, the question about the vehicles, then we need a set of rules, like, you know, how many points for the rider and how many points for the vehicles.
Absolutely.
So we should figure that out.
So we can set that all up. We can post it in the Bamf podcast Discord, where awesome. if you go to Facebook and the Bamf podcast fan group, you can find that link. Too easy.
Awesome. There's a Bamf Discord now too, huh?
Yeah, you were infectious.
I thought we sent you an invite. I sent you an invite.
No, you didn't. You didn't send me an invite. It's okay. Invite. Please send me an invite.
We'll send you an invite, and I'll send you one too, Nick. Well, hey, we should probably wrap up so I can get back to working it for the man. And
gotcha.
Any closing thoughts before we wrap it up?
Nope. I have fun, guys. It was very nice meeting you, Nick.
You too, Alice.
Okay. Thanks to everyone for coming out. Thanks to Walt for being the master of ceremonies, and we'll catch you next time on the Bamf podcast.
Sweet.